All right, we are recording. So welcome everybody to the JBBS quarterly meeting. This will be our last quarterly meeting of the calendar year. This will actually be our last big meeting of the calendar year, unless we or you all think it's a good idea to schedule a sorry, I'm getting chats on the side and they're distracting. If folks are thinking we need another office hours. So we will discuss that. We can discuss that later on in this meeting as well. But if folks are wanting another office hours before the end of the calendar year, please let us know. But this will be our last big JBBS meeting for the year other than one of those. So we'll do quick introductions just for everybody's sake. And that'll just be the BHA team. We're not going to go through the 63 people that are on the call to introduce everybody. So again, welcome everybody. I'm Becky Huckabee. I am one of the JBBS program managers, and I'm going to pass it on to Kelly for a quick introduction.
Hi everybody, I'm Kelly Russell. I am the other JBBS program manager here at the BHA, and so thank you everybody for hopping on with us today. We always appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to be with us and allow us to share some information with you and answer any questions you might have. So I'll pass it on over to Alex.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Clayton, and I am the Monitoring and Evaluation Program Coordinator for the Criminal Justice Programs at BHA. So I work closely with Becky and Kelly on JBBS data issues, and I will pass it to Danielle.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Danielle Culp, and I'm the Director of Criminal Justice Services at the BHA. Welcome.
Thanks, Danielle. I think we have Athena on the call.
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm Athena Puppas. I'm the contract administrator for JBBS, and I also process the invoices after Becky has reviewed and approved them.
Thanks, Athena. Anybody else from BHA on this call? I was searching, but I didn't see anybody. All right. Cool.
Everybody.
All right. I think that's everybody. So again, I'm going to say it multiple times, but welcome everybody. We appreciate y'all coming. Looks like we've got 68 participants. That's great. What I am going to have y'all do, if you could just put in the chat who you are, your name, and what county you're with. Just as we're talking, if you could just pop that in the chat, that would be fantastic. Just so we have a record of that. We are recording this meeting. We will post this meeting to the JBBS website. It usually gets posted within a couple of days. Doesn't take very long. Usually our comms folks are pretty good about getting it posted pretty quickly. So if you have somebody that would like to see the recording of this meeting, if you have somebody from the county that could not come, that would like to see it, the recording will be on the website more than likely by about Monday or Tuesday, if not by tomorrow. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a couple of things to do today. We have folks from the Douglas County Heart Program. We also have Haley Frazier with the tattoo removal company. And then we're going to do a quick JBBS contract reminder discussion, some data reminders, some contract reminders for everybody. Not going to be the most exciting presentation, but it'll be exciting for us. So I hope that makes sense and works for everybody. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Kelly for introductions from our Douglas County Heart Program folks.
Yes. Well, I'm actually going to let them introduce themselves. This was a program that was brought to our attention by the folks down at Douglas County at the Sheriff's Office. It is called the Heart Program. So I'm going to pass it over to you folks and let you kick it off. We're anxious to hear what you have to say.
Hi, yes, I am Greg Matthews with the Heart Team. I'm co-responder with the Sheriff's Office.
I'm Melissa DeJesus, navigator for the Heart Team.
And Deputy Brinkworth with the Sheriff's Office, Douglas County.
Fantastic. If you all want to go ahead and just give us kind of a brief rundown and what you plan to present to our group today. These are, again, JBBS providers from all throughout the state in serving in various capacities at their respective sheriff's offices. So we appreciate you guys hopping in today.
Of course. Thank you so much. We're also filling in with Tiffany since she is out today in a leadership meeting. So Douglas County Heart Team has been here for about 3.5 years. And today we are going to present a PowerPoint to let you know exactly what we do here in Douglas County in regards to the 4 C's: Compassion, code enforcement. What's the other two?
Communication.
In community, yes. And it's just a brief rundown of videos and what we do here.
So we're going to share a PowerPoint with you.
Okay, I have, hopefully you can get it. I have Greg as the co-host.
Yes, that's
Cool.
right. Okay, let me see. I've never used Google Meets before, so let me see if I could.
It's a button down there at the bottom. It looks like a computer screen with an arrow in it.
Yeah, here it is. Share screen. And let me see here. Where is select a tab to share? Let me see.
Is it the window?
No, it's not in there. Let me see.
Do you have it open?
I have it. Let me see here.
That would be a no.
It's right here. Hold on. Bear with us 1 second, please.
Oh, trust me. I have such a love-hate relationship with.
Kelly was struggling with the mute button before we all got on.
Okay, let me see
That's on the
here.
recording now.
Share. Copy link. Let me see. Go back to share screen. Window. There we go.
Should I screen?
Okay, can you all see the screen?
Yeah.
We can.
Wonderful. Okay. Okay, so we are the Homeless Engagement Assistance and Resource Team here in college.
Real quick, Greg, I just wanted to let you know, sorry to interrupt you. I wanted to let you know that you're not in the presentation view. You're in the, like, we can see notes and everything.
Okay, stop sharing.
No, you just.
Hold on. Hold on.
You just have to hit the view up here.
Yeah. We'll do.
View. How you start the slide or something.
Yep, short show.
Let me see here.
No, not up there. Not that
No.
there. Down.
Slideshow. Go ahead.
It is like dealing with it for
No,
you.
here we go.
I think it should be slideshow at the top there.
Right here, right here.
And then if you click that, go to from beginning. There you go.
There you go. Perfect.
Oh,
Now
perfect.
we're seeing the presentation view.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you so much.
Right, and we'll start from there.
Okay, so we're the Homeless Engagement Assistance and Resource Team here in Douglas County. Douglas County Homeless Initiative is what we do every Thursday of the first of the month. Now we've gone to once every 2 months. It was established in 2021 in regards to county leadership, nonprofits, faith-based organizations, law enforcement, and addressing homeless needs here in Douglas County. Here's a little snapshot that we did last year of exactly what we do. It's a small 4-minute video.
There's not a lot of homeless here, but there is homeless. Yeah, it is sad. Can we try to help you get to somewhere?
Homelessness is a problem everywhere. It's a regional issue.
HEART stands for Homeless Engagement Assistance and Resource Team. We proactively go out into the community and try to find those who are experiencing homelessness and navigate them to the appropriate resources.
The navigator has the ability to contact the individual, let them know what services are available, but we also have the deputy sheriff there for safety.
Our homeless initiative is operating under the 4 C's, leading with compassion, but code enforcement, community services, and communications. Being homeless isn't a crime, but in Douglas County, it is still a crime if you're vandalizing, urinating in front of a building, or you have a baby in a median. In an effort to reclaim your public spaces in Douglas County, your Board of County Commissioners has recently enacted a countywide camping ban.
It's critical. It gives us a tool to actually enforce the law.
We've found bottles of urine, we've found needles, drug paraphernalia, drugs.
A lot of them have trauma, mental health, substance abuse.
I used to live in a house.
We find individuals who have severe mental health challenges.
I asked her, she said she didn't know where she was from. What else can we help you with, though?
They don't know how to navigate the system. They're not in the right headspace.
We may have to connect them with mental health services or with drug rehab programs.
We can do just about anything. We could get them shelter. We can get them jobs. We can get them treatment if they want the treatment.
Understanding that these are real people in real situations is important.
There is a group in the community that cares about them, cares about their well-being.
Thank you so much.
We have food and water with us.
Today is Thursday at 8:47 a.m.
Where are we now?
We are at an RTD bus station.
Also waiting for a doctor's appointment because I take chemotherapy drugs. So
Their mission is to go out and identify and contact any homeless individuals within Douglas County to connect them with services.
I've known them for a while.
We want these folks to talk to us so we can help connect them with services. We've got to open up that dialogue. We've got to open up that rapport so that they know that law enforcement and the HEART team is not the enemy. We're here to help.
And once we're able to gain their trust and it shows that we're just trying to help, that's when they start kind of working with us. We are looking for an individual who is newly unhoused, who is needing assistance. You lost your job recently, is that right?
I haven't lost it, but I haven't been able to make it there.
Hey, Mark, it's Greg with the HEART team. I'm trying to give him viable options to get him off his feet so he doesn't become homeless.
it's been 3 weeks of this for me that I've been fighting.
I would say I think we are making a big change.
And then these gentlemen come and they give a little bit more hope that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
We're so thrilled that on the 1-year anniversary of HEART, that the Douglas County Homeless Initiative is working. We're one of 2 counties in the metro area that has seen an overall reduction in homelessness. In fact, a 36% reduction. In addition to that, panhandling has dried up. As a result of our Handouts Don't Help campaign, citizens just like you are reminded not to give out at intersections, which is not safe for them or the people receiving funds, but to give to the Red Cross of Douglas County, our Douglas County Community Foundation. Thank you for your partnership with us.
Let me see here.
There's not a lot of homeless here, but there is homeless. Yeah,
Press the button.
it is sad.
There we go. So the 4 C's here for Douglas County stand for compassion, code enforcement, community services, and communications, which is something we mentioned earlier. Compassion is a person-first approach, housing focused, assessing needs, building trust, case management, and follow-up. This particular picture here is here in Douglas County under a bridge, as you can tell, and this was assisting an individual who has been unhoused for some time. We were able to attach him to the Ready to Work program. I did an application under the bridge, emailed it to the individual over at Ready to Work in Aurora, and we were able to take him up there that same day. The code enforcement piece, our deputy is going to speak of.
So we have a no camping in public places. So all of our open spaces, our trail system, all the above, a lot of times where they like to hunker down in the trees. We also have the ordinances of, panhandling that we can enforce. And then also just trash, the loitering, things like that. So we have all of our intersections along 470. So most of you have driven along 470. We actually had state put no trespassing signs on all of those off ramps, so that way we can write them a trespass letter. We also have about 40 trespass letters throughout the county from certain properties that people are loitering on, panhandling on, so we can enforce a trespassing ticket if we needed to. Usually we like to do compliance, verbal compliance, voluntary compliance. So we have some tools that we can actually remove them and give them, enforcement if they push the issues all the way to that extreme. So the law enforcement side of it is we're there to protect the navigator, but also to enforce laws that need to be enforced so that we don't get large encampments and stuff like that throughout the county.
All right, next slide. Community services is referrals to partners, employment, housing, food, benefits, shelter, and transportation. This picture here is in regards to an individual. Since we're on the corridor here between Colorado Springs and Denver, this individual was actually here for a surgery at Sky Ridge in Lone Tree, and he ended up getting stuck here and his car broke down, and I was able to obtain services from nonprofits that we work with so I could obtain the parts and help him fix his vehicle in the Walmart parking lot.
The county's goal is to redirect kindness and generosity to county-wide resources in support of the unsheltered. So by doing this, we do a public awareness through our Handouts on Help campaign. We actually created new community posters that we give to businesses. And so we're trying to redirect the county's generosity towards back to basically, it's back to the people that need it the most. So all that money goes to the Douglas County Care Foundation, and that gets redistributed to all the community partners that we have across the county. And so if you're familiar with the point in time count, we kind of have our own, and it's based day by day. And so for September of 2025, we had 73 unhoused individuals. 30 of those people were sleeping in vehicles. 36 were in shelters like hotels or actual shelters, or 7 people were sleeping outside. And that's at just the month of September. And that can change day by day.
So this is a success story. We helped an individual a couple of years ago. He was a homeless male living out of his vehicle on a wait list for housing for 18 months. Multiple faith-based entities came together to secure 3 weeks in a hotel while he waited for his room to become available. Art worked with nonprofits to secure items to furnish his new apartment. He was connected with multiple supports after housing support, self-reliance, and sustainability. At times, every now and again, depending on need, if individuals, with this particular individual, we actually helped him move some furniture that was donated from a church and other friends, and we were able to actually fully furnish his apartment. It's not always the case, but it's always nice when it ends up like this.
So our referral process is anyone can call or text the hotline. We also are able to be dispatched based off Douglas County Sheriff's Office, their non-emergent line. For our community partners, as well as all of you, we have a referral link. You can also send us an email if you have any concerns or questions. And we are 7 days on. So we have teams Sunday to Saturday. We from 6 to 6 p.m. So we are always looking at our devices and making sure that you guys are up to date on everything that we need. Any questions for any of you?
I actually have a few questions. When this first started, what all folks in the county were or are involved in the implementation of this program? Like, how did it get started?
Well, it was an idea of Commissioner Layden, and he was wanting, obviously, to assist appropriately. So that's why he started doing the homeless initiative meetings and starting that and getting everybody involved who wanted to be involved. And all of our nonprofits, for example, like we have a lot of faith-based communities, a lot of churches, Help and Hope. We got Catholic Charities. AD Works comes to our homeless initiatives as well. All the municipalities and leadership come as well to address the challenges that everybody is having, and it's addressed in a timely manner. Obviously, we have, as like Alyssa was saying, that we have a referral process that's pretty amazing, and it works substantially. Even when we get an email, it's like live, and so we can pull up on our cell phones and go through it, and then Tiffany, who's our supervisor, will like distribute those to each of us, you know. And when we first started, we were considered navigators, which we still are, but now we're more of a co-responder role that aligns with the CRT program, as some of you may know. And initially, when we first started this program, we just had individual trucks. We were on radio, and we didn't have our co-respond, like we didn't have the deputies with us. And then the commissioner was really concerned about safety for the community and us as well. And so they decided to take those trucks away instead of us riding individually and calling out law enforcement during that time frame. He made us become a co-responder team and ride daily with our deputies. We spend 10 hours a day with our deputies, you know. So, and that's how it goes. Obviously, it's on a case-by-case basis and how we address things. We do use HMIS consistently, and we all each have individual caseloads as well. There's a by name list that we keep individuals now that even disconnected up to 60 days, we still have those individuals on our caseload to make sure they don't fall through the cracks, right? And as you may know as well, I mean, it takes a village to do all this, and this is why we're all here. And there's times that it's completely frustrating, and we feel like at a loss, and that's why we're all here together to help figure this out, because it's an issue that's not going to go away. It's going to be consistent, ongoing, and it's growing, you know. So
and we also do multiple times a month, we meet with our nonprofits as a full, going over the by name list that we keep, into discussing what options we can do for our clients, or what we have done, or what we can possibly do in the future. We have a question in the chat. Do you partner with other counties who don't have resources to aid those experiencing homelessness? We actually do talk to, is it Elbert County?
Elbert County. We dispatch for Elbert County, but we also work with we have 3 municipalities within our counties. We have Lone Tree, Parker, and Castle Rock. They don't have co-responder teams, but they have kind of community service officers that we work closely with. We get referrals, even though we're under the county, since all the cities are in the county, we help them out tremendously with their own problems. If they come across somebody, they call us and we respond over to Lone Tree, let's say, to help with any resources that we can provide to that unhoused person.
And we'll answer any questions Elbert County has, because they don't have a homeless outreach unit. So if they call us and they're like, hey, can you get on the phone and talk to us and give us some advice, we're happy to do so. We are county employees. However, this program is grant funded. And how did you get buy-in to have deputies assigned to this program?
So some of our deputies is paid from the grant funds, and some of the deputies is paid by the county. And our resources that we have, it's something that we've created, meeting with all of our nonprofits and faith-based communities. We actually have a list of resources. If anybody needs those, we'd be happy to email all the resources that we have that you may need. It's taken 3.5 years, and it's ongoing, and it's endless. We're always finding new resources, which we always get excited about, because it helps us help them, and it helps everybody else figure this out.
What would you say was the reaction from the community as a whole? Would you say it's been pretty positive?
It's been pretty positive, because they reach out to us by public phone call or text now, you know, and even public emails as well. So they can go on our website and look it up and email us as well. So our response has been good. I mean, with any new program, there's the ebbs and flows of things. You know, some people may like it and some not. But as a whole, I think it's good for Douglas County, and our community seems to be appreciative of us. And they're actually always welcome to come to our homeless initiative meetings. Anybody can come to those meetings. It's open to everybody in the public, and sometimes the public will actually come in and speak, or concerned business owners as well.
Which means anyone like you guys can come if you guys want to.
We have one more. Oh, sorry. Yeah, one more question. Are your housing resources and shelters mostly in Douglas County?
There are actually no shelters in Douglas County. We do have a crisis and a domestic violence shelter, but those are not homeless shelters. So we rely really on
other counties, so there is the goals program, which is in Aurora, and I know Douglas County had paid into that so we could have some beds. So I know right now with the goals program, because we are recently having an influx of a lot of families, they will accept up to 10 families for us, which is amazing, but we paid into that. And so Douglas County is doing our best to obtain out like those relationships so we can have shelters and not just be taking wherever, so it does make it hard sometimes not having a shelter in Douglas County. But at the same time, I'm grateful for the relationships that we do have with the other shelter programs that we have. I know Sentence Sanctuary we've used for people who are 65 and above, Ready to Work program in Aurora, Inglewood, and Boulder, who offers, as y'all may know, transitional housing as long as they are able to work. And I know, and like I said, the goals program, and here soon at some point we will be able to work in concert with the new navigation center that's opening up in November. It's also exciting in Aurora. And at times, and also when it comes to trying to figure out the immediate needs, once we put them in the HMIS and we put them on the by name list or one home for the housing wait list here in Colorado, we also have that relationship with what am I thinking of? Well, we have a funding that's donated from the Douglas County Community Foundation that supports up to 3 nights per family per year, and that can help us to transition individuals to why we're trying to figure out and navigate for them. And then sometimes we could piggyback off the nonprofits as well and figure things out. A lot of times we also will, with individuals with medical and mental impairment, we may be able to do a referral to Douglas County, the care compact here in Douglas County, which is also beneficial for us that we can piggyback on as well, and trying to navigate, assisted living situations and possible housing from there as well. So it's an art and it's ongoing. And like I said, I'm always excited about having new housing resources when they do come about, since we do not have our own shelters, but Douglas County does pay into other sources at times.
Somebody had a question about the HMIS system.
Let me see.
It's our homeless information system, and so deputies do not have access to it. It is only for us and some of our partners. It is basically just case manage. It tracks case management, the services we give. Would you like to interview police outside the county, or are they handed off to other case management? We typically like to get them connected to other case management because we are like a band-aid. We do short-term, we try to get them connected to those long-term case management and resources that will get them into those housing programs, because we see people like 10 to 20 people a day. And so it's hard for us to do that long-term case management and help them get to those next steps. And so we typically do give them to better help.
I mean, at times, there are times that we do keep them on our caseloads. Like I recently had one on my caseload for a year, and he finally got housed after writing a letter to a place in Aurora that had subsidized housing. So we do keep them on our caseload as long as we need to. And sometimes we do have those success stories while they're on our caseload, but sometimes we are stumped, and that's why we use other nonprofits and faith-based communities, because we work together and get on meetings like this and figure it out together, and it works.
Every case is different. So for some of them, they can be housed pretty quickly because they are a vet, and so we can get them connected to the CRCC, and they can get on HUD-VASH and all that. And that would take maybe a month or two to get them housed. Others, that takes longer, and so that could be other programs, or it's just kind of a waiting game. For some, it's basically just getting them, like if they've gotten evicted, we try to get them housed as quickly as possible, like getting them connected to affordable housing so that eviction doesn't prevent them from getting that housing.
I think that's it.
Does anyone else have any questions? this would be a wonderful program for some of these other communities to possibly look into if they don't have something like that already. So if you're able to share the resources that you have, you can share with Becky and I, and then we can send it out.
Okay.
And then if any of you have individual questions for the folks down at Douglas, if y'all could put your emails in the chat just one more time so everybody could can get a hold of you if they have questions or want to look into doing something like this in their own county. I think this would be great.
Okay, wonderful. Oh man, I have to do this.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you guys so much for being
course.
with us and joining us today. We sure appreciate you.
Thank you so much for allowing us to present today.
Yes, absolutely. We are going to hop into our next presenter. Haley, are you on the call?
I actually just searched Kelly and I did not find her here.
Okay.
Unless she's on the phone. Haley here?
All right. Well, we'll see if she shows up. Why don't we go ahead and jump into our PowerPoint then, Becky?
Sure. Yeah, we can do that. Let me share real fast. Give me one quick second. All right. Can we see that okay?
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Ray. Thumbs up from Ray. All right, everybody. So this is going to be pretty quick, just kind of contract reminders. It's not the most entertaining. It is what it is. We just noticed some things so far this fiscal year, and we want to make sure that we're all on the same page with just some discussion points, some reminders about JBBS, some reminders about what's due, all that good stuff. So we'll go ahead and get started. So just some deliverable reminders. So the monthly contract monitoring tool is due the 20th of the month for the previous month. So October's will be due November 20th, just as an example. This particular month, so September's monthly contract monitoring tool is actually, Alex gave a little bit more time. That's due August 27th, and he'll announce that when he sends that out. But just make sure that those are submitted by the 20th of the month, unless Alex gives you some extra time. If for some reason they are going to be late, you're on vacation, you just didn't get to it, things happen, we totally understand. Go ahead and reach out to Alex, but please CC your program manager. So just CC myself or Kelly, just so we are all on the same page for that. Invoices. Invoices are also due the 20th of the month for the previous month. Generally, I will not give you some extra time. I manage those invoices, process those invoices for payment. Kelly looks at her counties, I look at my counties, but I process all of those for payment, and we need to make sure those are in on time. So we can relay current spending to our folks that are wondering about what's going on with spending. So please make sure those are getting in on time. If something is going to be late, regardless of who your program manager is, you can just reach out to me and let me know. If I am not your program manager, I'll be letting Kelly know more than likely, hey, this county let me know that this will be late, but you can reach out to me directly. Please remember to include all backup documentation. So we need receipts. We need hours for your JBBS staff. If JBBS is paying for it, we need to see that in your backup documentation. Any medications, so if we are paying for any medications, we do check that those clients are open in Civicor, so please include that information so we know, and we can look up those folks in Civicor, because we need to make sure per your contract that folks are admitted into JBBS in order to pay for their behavioral health medications. Invoices should be sent directly to the BHA payment email address. That email address is listed at the top. Believe the top, and I have the invoice on here. We can go over it, but I believe it's at the top right-hand corner. I have trouble with right and left, but at the top right-hand corner, if you can't find that email address, let me know. You can feel free to CC me or CC Kelly on that email. I have a lot of counties doing that because sometimes our BHA payment folks will miss an invoice. And if I'm CC'd, I can look back and make sure I received it. And if I received it, I can go ahead and forward it to the BHA payment email address. But if I'm not CC'd on it and our BHA payment folks miss it, then I'm going to reach out to you. I'm going to bug you. I'm going to bug you and let you know, hey, we're missing your invoice. So feel free, again, to CC me, but it must be sent to the BHA payment email address, not just me, not just Kelly.
And the reason that is, folks, just so you kind of understand our process here, is that once you submit an invoice, it goes into a system, a master system for the state. So that there's numbers that have to be entered, and there's a lot of things that kind of start the process of you all getting paid. It's not just me and Becky looking at an invoice and then telling them to pay you. Like it's a process here that we have to go through. So that is why it's imperative that you send your invoices to the payment address. Again, you can feel free to CC us if you want to, but that information will eventually get to us once the payment folks have done what they need to do. So just wanted to make sure you all understood that process and kind of how we have to do things on our end.
Thanks, Kelly. And that Kelly makes a good point. Athena is also CC'd when those when the BHA payment email address folks send those invoices to me for processing. So it's sent to us, and then it's also sent to Athena, and Athena flags it to make sure we're within our timeframes as well. So we have, thanks, Robert. We have timeframes on our end that we need to get those invoices processed. So she makes sure we are within our timeframes. Generally, we are processed far faster than the actual required timeframes, but sometimes not. Sometimes I'm out of the office. Sometimes we're super busy and we can't get to things. And so Athena will remind me that we're close to within our window. And so it needs to be sent to that BHA payment email address. Please ensure on your invoices, and we'll go over the invoices, but I really, really need the monthly amount and the year-to-date cumulative amount filled out. And we're gonna go over the invoices here in a sec, because I got to tell y'all, I spend a lot of time going over invoices and making sure these invoices are accurate. I've got 51 different invoices, plus we have a contractor. So that's 52 invoices that I'm going through every single month. And that's 52 of you that I'm going through. And if I have to spend an extra 3 minutes on your invoice, that could be an extra 3 minutes for 52 invoices. It doesn't seem like a lot of time, but when you add it up, it ends up being a lot of time on my end that I'm taking to fill out your cumulative amount, because that has to be filled out. If you can do it, that saves me a ton of time. So if you don't know your year-to-date cumulative amount, please reach out. I can let you know. I can just send you the last approved invoice. That'll show you the cumulative amount that I've added. But please, it saves me a ton of time. Kelly, Alex, anything else on this slide? We have one more deliverable reminder slide. Cool. Okay. All right. The bi-monthly or monthly meetings. So these are just your program management meetings. So Kelly and I schedule meetings on an as-needed basis. Usually they're once a month, sometimes every 2 months. Sometimes kind of we'll play with the time. Maybe there's a holiday and we need to push it out a little bit further. Sometimes we're having issues with the county and we need to meet more often. These meetings, please attend these meetings. Lately, I have had a lot of no-shows. And I got to tell you, it wastes a lot of my time. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to no-show for you all. I might be running late a little bit, but I try my best. And I know Kelly tries her best to reach out if we're running late. I try my best to reach out if I need to reschedule. I don't think I've ever just no-showed for a meeting. But lately, I have had a lot of no-shows. I'll hang out on a call for 15 minutes. But that's 15 minutes of my day where I could be doing something else. If you could just shoot me an email, give me a call, send me a text, whatever it is that you cannot attend your meeting. Same with Kelly, just let us know. But please attend those meetings. There are touch base to make sure we know what's going on in your program, to make sure we know what's going on throughout the state, so that when our higher ups ask us how JBBS is doing, how counties are doing, we can give them any information. Kelly, anything on that?
Yeah, just to kind of emphasize too, when we reach out with questions about your invoices, there's a reason that we're doing that. We we have to be responsible for this money. This is a lot of money that we are given and that we have to be responsible for and we have to be accountable for. And so when we reach out to you with a question or need some clarification on something, that's not anybody, that's not us picking on someone or, trying to be difficult. That is our responsibility as the stewards of this money. And I'm sure that everybody understands that. There is a lot of accountability that we have to some very high level administrators. So when we're asking you these questions, please don't take it personally. Please don't think you're being picked on. But if there are questionable items in an invoice, or as Becky said earlier, if there's a name that's not in Civicor, but you're asking us to pay for their medications, like those are all things that we are going to be asking you about, as we should. So just appreciate your understanding with all that. We appreciate your prompt responses when we ask for clarification. There's a lot of times we can't approve an invoice unless we have everything squared away on that. So in order for us to reimburse you as quickly as possible, when there are questions that come up, please answer those as much or as quickly as you can. So thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Kelly. And larger JBBS meetings, such as this meeting. This is very much me preaching to the choir right now because you are all here. We have 74 people here. We go through the attendance. We make sure folks from every county is here. And I think 74 is probably one of our highest numbers, which is fantastic. But these meetings are required. You need a county representative at each of these meetings. The roundtable meetings are different. Only county folks are invited to attend that. So generally providers, generally folks, medical providers, so on and so forth, are not invited to those. However, if a county needs a provider to attend one of those roundtable meetings, reach out to your program manager. Let us know that you need somebody else. You need a representative to attend, and we can send them the invite. But these meetings are required per your contract. If you cannot attend one of these meetings, or you cannot find somebody to fill in your place to attend one of these meetings, we understand things happen. We understand things come up. We understand you all are busy. Things come up for us as well. There have been a couple of meetings that I have missed. It happens. We do post these meetings to the website. I'll go back a little bit. Things happen. Reach out to your program manager, please. Let your program manager know, hey, I can't attend. I won't be there. This is the reason. And again, like I just said, we do post these meetings to the JBBS website. And as I said earlier in the call, usually they're posted pretty quick. The nice thing about Google Meet is Kelly is the host. She's going to get an email once this is downloaded. We can fill out a form to get this to comms. They make a really awesome YouTube video. They post it to our website. They tell it's posted. It's usually good to go within a day or two. So they're usually pretty quick with that. But please, please, please make sure you are either attending. I guess not either. There's three options. Attending, sending somebody in your place, or reviewing that video. Kelly, anything to add there? Cool. All right, we will move on then. I told you we were going to go over the invoice because like I said, I spend a lot of my time, and I'm a therapist, everybody. I don't know if you knew that, and spending the significant amount of my time processing invoices and frankly doing math just kind of eats at my soul. So if I can have you all help me out to make these seamless and easy for me, then it won't eat through my soul as quickly, and I would really appreciate that. So these are just, and thanks, Alex, I can see you like laughing at my really nerdy, lame jokes, so thank you. I can't see anybody else, nobody else is on camera. So these are just my overall reminders for your invoices. I blocked off, yes, actually, Sergeant Matthews, that's a really good, we will provide email addresses at the end, and we will also post them on here so you have them. Sergeant Matthews makes a really good, I'm sorry, Greg, that's not Sergeant Matthews. I just saw Matthews and I assumed it was Sergeant Matthews. That will be at the end of this slide, and Kelly can post it here as well. I cut off the top of this particular invoice because this particular invoice came from Adams County, because they're the first county that shows up in my I drive. But you all didn't need to see their contract numbers or everything. This is what you fill out. So agency invoice number, that is your invoice number. That is your invoice number for your tracking purposes. Please do not leave this blank though. We would like this invoice number filled out. Final invoice, I went down here because I forgot to actually mention it until later. Every single invoice throughout the fiscal year, this question will be a no, except for your last invoice. This is not asking, is this the final invoice of the month? This is asking if this is the final invoice of the fiscal year. So July through May, that question is going to be answered no. In June, that question is going to be answered yes. And that should be the only month that question is answered yes, unless you have an SOR invoice. And then that will be September. Okay. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. This is particularly the JBBS invoice. So we do have a handful of counties that have SOR funds that are on a different fiscal year, but generally for most everybody, this will be, thanks, Eric. This will be a no for every month except for June. Reimbursement period. This is just the month that you are asking reimbursement for. So for example, right here, the first spot, you're going to write October 1st. Right here, you're going to write October 31st. Please make sure you have a 31 day, the 31st day on a 31-day month, and the 30th day on a 30-day month. Please also make sure you change this. I actually have a couple of invoices for September right now that still have, it just kicked me out here. I apologize about that. I don't know what happened there, but we are back. Must have pressed something on accident. But I have a couple of invoices in my box right now where it's submitted for September, but this still says August. Again, I know it's quick for me to fix, but if I have to fix it for 52 invoices, that time really adds up for me. Your current amount, that is what you are requesting, requesting reimbursement for this particular month. So if you are submitting an invoice for September, this is what you are asking for September. If October, what you're asking for October. Your cumulative amount, is the year-to-date invoicing. So if you submitted an invoice, just going to make it easy, so because, math, $1,000 for July, $1,000 for August, $1,000 for September, these will be $3,000. So please this is one of my biggest things. About, I think, a quarter of you fill out I can get you a copy, Nancy. About a quarter of you fill out this cumulative. That is a lot of invoices that every single month I am having to go through and fill out that cumulative amount. That takes a ton of my time. I'm going to keep saying it because it seriously takes a ton of my time. So please fill out this cumulative amount. Again, if you need information on what your cumulative amount is, I will go ahead and take care of September's invoice. I will make sure it's filled out for September. I will send you a copy. Then you will have that approved invoice. You will have that cumulative amount. So then you can start filling it out for the following month. I have no problem doing that. Just let me know. Invoice prepared by, this is whoever fills out the invoice. It's not necessarily the person that signs it. It's whoever fills it out. Please, please, please complete this. Your name, your phone number, your email address. So if we have any questions, we can contact you. Pretty easy. Authorized signature. This is the person approving the invoice. This is not necessarily the person preparing it, and that's okay. It might be a sergeant filling it out. It might be a lieutenant approving it. It might be a program coordinator approving it. It might be a case manager filling it out. Whatever it is, if these are the same, that's totally fine. On the authorized signature, though, I cannot have it blank. And I cannot have just a typed signature. I need some type of signature. There is a way to create a digital signature. I have created a digital signature on my end. If you need help doing that, reach out to me and I can walk you through how to do that. And you can just save it. You can save it as a PDF. You can save it as a Word document. You can copy and paste it in there. You can print out this invoice. Thanks, Robert. Appreciate that. We'll reach out to her. You can print out this invoice, sign it, scan it back in, and send it. But I need an actual signature on there. You can't just type your name. If I receive just a typed name or a blank here, from now on, I'm not gonna process it. I'm gonna reach out to you to finish that. Also include a date that you actually signed it. Do not put anything on the BHA authorized signature. I don't know how many folks fill that out, but it happens all the time. This is me. I'm going to sign this when I approve it, and I'm going to date it when I approve it. You don't do anything with that. What happens a lot is I get a signature on authorized signature, and I get a signature on BHA authorized signature. I've got to go in, I've got to move them, I've got to delete them. It, again, takes a lot of my time. I will get you a copy of this if you'd like a copy. So Nancy, I can get you a copy of this. Any questions about this? And I know it's boring. I know the invoices are boring, but they should be quick, I hope, on your end, because we've made these pretty easy. But I gotta have these filled out correctly. Yeah, Athena, what'd I miss?
You didn't show it, but that address remittance line needs to match what they have in core. They cannot change it. If they change it, it follows up payment.
Thank you, Athena. So there's that makes a good point. So it should be your county name and then address right below it. It's at the very top of the invoice. That needs to match what you have listed in core. Athena tries to let me know if the address, if she starts to notice addresses are different. And again, I can go in and change it. And again, it takes a lot of my time to go in and change it, or it takes a lot of Athena's time to make sure she notices that and has to change it on her end, or has to ask me to change it. Ultimately, it's going to delay payment for you all. If it takes me an extra 5 minutes for 15 invoices, then it's going to take me longer to get through invoices, and it's going to delay payment. It's also going to make me grumpy. So I would like to not be grumpy. So absolutely, Cassandra, I can also get you a copy of this. Any other questions or anything I missed?
Would it be helpful for folks to know what core means? I know we throw a lot of acronyms around. Would that be helpful for Athena, Becky, if you want to explain core real quick?
Sure. I think we've talked about the acronym like library and needing to explain that. So yes, I think that would be helpful. And I'm 100% going to let Athena do that.
Okay, core is the system that processes our payments. And basically, they match that remittance address to what your remittance address is in core. If they don't match, they'll kick it back. So you have to make sure it matches. If you need to change that address, you need to either go into VSS and change it, or send in a new address change form, or let us know and we can send you the address change form.
And if you're curious what address we have, it is on your invoice template. So check your invoice template. If that's not the correct address, or if you're curious what address is in core and you're wondering if it's correct or not, reach out to me, and I'm just going to CC Athena and ask what she has on her end. And then if they're different, we can get that process moving.
There are a few counties that are changing their address.
Do you want to maybe send me an email with those counties, Athena, and I can just reach out? I don't want to call people out on here.
Yeah, I don't either.
I feel like that'd be rude. All right. Yeah, shoot me
an
email. She'll let me know, and I'll reach out to you. It's you're not in trouble or anything like that, but we can get things matched and make sure we're not having issues. So thank you, Athena, for that. Anything else? Oh, and Cassandra and Nancy, if I forget to send you a copy, because once meetings end, things leave my brain. I will try not to, but if I do, please just reach out and I'll send you a copy of this. And anybody else, if you want a copy of this, reach out. Let me know. Awesome. Cool. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move on if that works for everybody. All right. Rate schedule. This is also really boring. This will be a little bit quicker though. I just wanted everybody to see our rate schedule. There are a lot of things on our JBBS rate schedule. There are some things that are not on our JBBS rate schedule. So what you have here is the first two essentially pages of our rate schedule. This is for fiscal year 26. What you see at the top is our general accounting encumbrance. In the past, you would see your county specific budget there. Because we have a GAE, which again is general accounting encumbrance, everybody technically has access to this 16 point whatever million. At the bottom of your particular rate schedule on with your contract is your specific budget. We are in the process of doing some budget changes. We'll reach out to you if that's going to affect you. If we haven't already talked to you, you're not looking at losing any funds or anything. We may talk to you in the future if we're going to add funds, and you will get a new letter and more than likely a new copy of your rate schedule. We're figuring out how to work that. But this is everything on the first 2 pages of what we can pay for. These on the left-hand side here are our positions and what we pay for, and our max, what our budget allows at the maximum. We can possibly allow for 10% above this, but that has to be approved by your specific program manager. So please reach out to your program manager. If you check your rate schedule and see anything that is funky on here that doesn't match what you're currently paying, please reach out to your program manager immediately so we can have a discussion. I'm going to go on to the next slide because it has the last section, which includes medications for the JBBS rate schedule. And again, I will send copies of these if you need them, but 2 things. One, this is in your contract. So everybody has a copy of this or should have a copy of this. 2, we will also post this to the website. So you'll see this on the website, but please check your contract as well if you have any questions. This is the second page of our or third page, I guess, of our rate schedule. It includes the medications that we've approved. If we have approved other medications that are outside of this already, that's fine. If your program manager has already approved it, that's fine. If you would like anything else approved on this rate schedule, and I think I went back forward too soon, but check out the other at the end. I think I had talked with April from Garfield. If you're on here, I'd said we didn't have translation services. We totally do. We totally have translation services. So if there's anything you would like approved that is outside of this rate schedule, I thought about you when I saw that, April, so I wanted to make sure I called it out. We had a discussion about this earlier this week. If you would like something approved that is not on the rate schedule, so you're looking at, I don't know, computers or something right now that is not on the rate schedule. We have a JBBS, new this year. This is something Kelly created, which is super cool. A JBBS purchase request form that is at this link. Kelly and I staff these requests. So if you submit a request, we're going to schedule a meeting between the both of us and we're going to staff it. And then your program manager, whether it's myself or Kelly, will reach out to you if that request is denied or approved. Either way, you're going to get some outreach and we'll let you know based off of our staffing if we approve this or not. If it's a little more complicated, or really, really expensive, Kelly and I may take this to our biweekly JBBS check-in, which includes Alex and Danielle, so we can get a little bit more discussion around this. Or if we disagree, we're going to take it to that meeting and we're going to allow a bigger team to discuss it. Generally, we don't agree too much, or agree. Sorry, that was the opposite of what I wanted to say. Generally, we do agree, but obviously, we're different. So if there's something that we disagree on, we'll take it to a larger meeting. If you would like to see something added to a future rate schedule, we've already noticed a couple of things that aren't on there that we would like to add. Just reach out to your program manager. Well, we have a note right now on our fiscal year 26 rate schedule that is ongoing of things that we want to add to our fiscal year 27 rate schedule. So if there's something on there, reach out to your program manager. We'll put it on our discussion for our biweekly JBBS check-in, and we'll see if we agree. And if we agree, we'll pop it on there and we'll let you know. If we don't agree, we'll also let you know, and we'll let you know why. Anything, Kelly, you wanted to add here?
Just be prepared on those forms. One of the questions that we ask is if you have explored additional funding options for a particular item. We just really need to be cognizant, especially this year and most likely next year. We really need to be cognizant of what this money is going to. So before you make these requests, I just really encourage you to, as you know, with your team, to sit down and be like, is this something JBBS should be paying for? Or is this something we need to seek other funding opportunities for? So we're happy to entertain any requests that you have, but we do need to be cognizant of what we're approving, just so you all kind of know that moving forward.
Thanks, Kelly. Good point. And as we've said multiple times this fiscal year. Things are changing in the funding world, right? You all know that. We know that. We need to, as Kelly has said, we need to be really careful with what we're approving. We can no longer have this end of the year spend down. And that's part of the reason for the GAE. We want to make sure, and my counties in particular have heard me say this on I'm like a broken record at this point. We need to make sure the money is going to services and going to the counties that need it when they need it. So if you are asking for us to buy stuff, essentially, we're going to be pretty stringent about what we are approving, because we have a lot of counties right now over budget, and they are providing services. They are paying for medications. Like they are over budget doing that, and they're not buying stuff. Their county is really buying the stuff that they need. Obviously, recovery support services are on there and make sense. But if you're asking for stuff outside of the rate schedule, we may be pretty stringent on those things. I saw in the chat, if it is on the rate schedule, but there is no money amount, what does that mean? It generally means we're pretty flexible. So like translation services can range pretty significantly, Nancy, right? So what I would say is if there's no dollar amount, reach out to your program manager and we can generally give you what we're thinking. But let me go back a little bit. So like Medicaid enrollment assistance, that may be case management time. It may be DHS time. I don't know what they charge. Staff training is really going to vary, right? You could have a training that's $100 per person. You could have a training that's $1,000 per person. What I would say is use your best judgment, but also reach out to your JBBS program manager. I recently had a county reach out about a conference. Is it training? Is it staff training? Yeah, but is it more expensive because it's also a conference? Yes. So they reached out anyway. They don't need to fill out a form. I appreciate them reaching out, and I asked them to continue doing so, but they don't need to fill out the form because staff training is on there. But we had a discussion on if it made sense and if it would fit within their JBBS budget. So all I ask is if you're wondering, if you're curious, have a discussion about it with your program manager. Does that help, Nancy? And for everybody else. I'm going to assume so. All right. Awesome. Thanks, Nancy. We'll move on. Anything else here, Kelly, and then we can move on? Sweet. All right. We've touched on this stuff a little bit, and Kelly mentioned kind of just responding. I basically want to say respond with grace when we ask you questions. We've just noticed, I don't know if there's something in the air. There's a lot of stress. I mean, folks are under a lot of stress. But we've received a lot of kind of backlash lately about our questions. And as Kelly mentioned, we have a lot of oversight. And it says on here, we have our supervisors, we have our commissioner, we have our legislators, we have our governor. We have folks really keeping a close eye on these funds. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but there have been a lot of high profile cases coming out of jails lately. You guys know this. You guys are in the jails. You guys know your high profile cases. JBBS is really being looked at. And although these clients may not be JBBS, Kelly and I really are known as, if there's a jail issue in BHA, you go to Kelly and Becky. If there's a jail question in BHA, you go to Kelly and Becky. So please just bear with us. We're doing a lot of stuff that is really outside. Again, I'm going to say it again. I'm a therapist. I am a trained therapist. I'm a licensed professional counselor, and I am managing $16 million worth of funds. And I got to say, we do a darn good job managing those funds. Kelly and I really do a darn good job doing that as therapists and as folks that are not educated formally to do these things, right? And thanks everybody for the fancy stuff. But we also have responsibilities on our end with those. So if you do not include, as we've said, if you do not include your backup documentation, you will not have an approved invoice. We'll be reaching out to you with questions. If we reach out to you with a question, please answer the question with grace. We're not trying to be a pain in your butt. We're not trying to question every single thing you're doing. We need to make sure what we are approving has backup. We need to make sure that these funds that we are approving are going to where they need to go. We have legislative requirements as well. So we understand mistakes happen as well. We make mistakes. I will be the first to say I make mistakes all the time. But please just remember that we are trying our best to make sure that these funds are going where they need to. And we have the clients in mind. I come from a jail and DOC background. I want nothing more than to help the clients and make sure they don't come back. That is my goal. But we also need to make sure these funds are going where they need to go. Kelly, what would you like to say on that?
Just echoing what we said earlier and what you said. And yeah, just
Awesome.
appreciate everybody's cooperation and understanding for the various roles here.
Oh, thank you. Any questions about this? I know it's a lot, and I know we sometimes reach out a lot, and I know you all have other funding sources. I know you have grants that you're managing. I know you have other stuff that you have going on, and this is pretty like this is my life, right? JBBS is my life. So but because it's my life, I'm gonna be a pain in the butt sometimes about it, because I want to make sure that the folks that need the funds are getting the funds. So if you have questions or concerns about any of this, please reach out. We can have a discussion. Danielle Culp is on here too. She introduced herself. She's our director. We can all have a conversation and sit down and chat too. Just let us know what you need. Ultimately, that's what I'm here for. That's what Kelly's here for. That's what Alex is here for. We're here to help y'all and make sure these funds are also easy to use. So if there are questions that we're asking every month, we may schedule a meeting to make sure we're all on the same page. So we're not having to ask those questions anymore and not having to bug you about it anymore. All right, cool. I'll move on. Alex. I get to stop talking and drink some water for a while, and I'm going to let you take over.
Right? That was quite the presentation. Thank you, Becky. Thanks, Kelly. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good to see everyone. I have a few things that I wanted to kind of discuss with everybody and a few things that I wanted to show you real quick. So the first thing I want to talk about was the monthly contract monitoring tool. It's kind of been touched on before. It's due on the 20th of each month, unless otherwise specified, right? I got it out a little late this month, so I gave you an extra week, basically. Most of you, it's not a problem. It's not an issue. You're getting it in on time, all that good stuff. I still have 2 counties that have not submitted August's, right, which was due September 20th. We're now almost where September's is due. And I've got a few counties that are regularly late. Again, things happen, mistakes happen, you forget, you go on vacation, you do this, there's some fluctuation there. But I have to take this data and I have to aggregate it, and we have to use it for a bunch of requests that are coming in. Like right now, I'm doing a request for hemorrhage data, and I can't do it for the 2 counties that are missing because I'm missing their data from September or from August. And so, again, just stay consistent with that. If you're going to be late, we would really appreciate a heads up, right? Becky and Kelly, you can send it to either of them. They'll forward it to me. You can send it to me and I'll let them know. Again, if you're going to be a couple of days late, it's not a big deal. Just let us know. And what we want to try to avoid is people being late every month, right? We have responsibilities and we're collecting this data and we have to turn around and use it for those responsibilities. So just please keep that in mind, right? On the monthly contract monitoring tool, there's a question for how many people were released this month from the JBBS program. That number should never be larger than the number of admitted clients, right? So if you admitted 5 people this month, you should not have 25 releases. Again, there's some fluctuation, right? Maybe somebody was admitted last month and there were a few extra people admitted last month. So it's okay if it's a little bit bigger, right? But what I've seen a couple come back and they're saying, oh, we released 17 people this month, but we only admitted 3 people to the program. So again, the releases are just asking about people who have been formally admitted to the program. They got entered in Civicor, they got a gain assessment. That's what the monthly contract monitoring tool wants to know, is how many people that were formally admitted to JBBS were released from your facility this month. So just wanted to clarify that real quick. If you have questions about that, we can talk about it in a monthly meeting. You can send me an email. We can set up a meeting. All fine. Want to clear that up for everybody going forward. But I'm just kind of seeing that happen a little bit here and there. So I wanted to remind everyone. For the gain assessments, every admitted client needs a gain assessment within 14 days. I'll show you in just a second. We just did an analysis of how many people that are in Civic Corps as being admitted to the JBBS program have a gain. And you're going to see those numbers on the next slide in just a minute. So we'll talk about that. It's not great. It's not pretty. Let's say there's lots of room for improvement, right? And this isn't about like, hey, we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. This is about like, okay, how can we get to the point where 100% of people that are admitted to JBBS are getting a gain assessment, right? For two reasons. The gain's important for two reasons. One, it helps you all with treatment planning. I know some of you have other assessments. I know that you have other things going on. The gain is a pretty robust assessment. We've added that TBI question on there, for example. So it should still be helpful. Number two, it's helpful to us because we're now finally analyzing that data in the aggregate. And I'm going to show you that in just a second. So it's important for those two reasons. We really want to get those things in, get that done. You can answer, we want you to answer as many questions as possible on the gain, but if you can't get any answers, it's okay to still just fill out the name, date of birth, whatever information you have, and just skip all the assessment questions and submit it. That still counts as a submitted assessment. So let's say you have somebody that's refusing to take the gain. And again, this is an issue in a few counties, right? Somebody's refusing to take the gain for whatever reason. You can still enter their identifying information, their name, their date of birth, whatever else, ethnicity, and then skip all the assessment questions, click submit, and that still counts as a submitted gain. Now, again, our preference, and I'm sure your preference, is to get as many answers as possible, right? Make it as complete as possible. But instead of not having a gain at all, I would rather you just fill out the basic information, submit it, and then it shows up as somebody having a gain, okay? In Civic Corps, yeah, you got it, Michelle. In Civic Corps, these are a couple additions that happened, I don't know, in the last 90 days. Most of you have seen it already. I just want to give you a reminder. So we added a question about veteran status. It's now required when you create a new client, like add a new client. In the basic info tab, it says is veteran. And that's, again, something that we want to track more closely and look at more closely going forward. So we made that required when you put that in. If you go back and you update somebody's, like, let's say you added this client a year ago, if you go back and update that, it's going to be required. You'll have to add that in now. So just be aware of that. We also added in the services tab, when you do a MAT service, that was only given like 3 options for medications. And so we added an other option, and then you just click other, and then you fill out whatever that medication is. Just because, again, there's lots of variations, there's lots of things going on. So instead of just giving you 3 options for those medications, you can also add other and put whatever you want in there. Again, we're not using that as much as that's for you to kind of track what services are being provided, what medications are being provided. But I wanted something that was a little bit more robust and complete that would be more useful to you all. I've got a question from Yvonne. I'm going to go back to that in just a second. General comments. Okay, so the dashboard update, I'm going to show you that in just a second. Another big one, the MREACH program, which is the Medicaid Reentry and Community Health program, has asked us for some data. We provided some of that, but there's a lot of holes in what we have because we don't know, we know a lot about the JBBS program, but we don't necessarily know a lot about what's going on across the whole facility. So MREACH is probably going to be reaching out very soon with a data request about what Medicaid process looks like in your facility, what your numbers, your overall numbers look like versus just the JBBS numbers, a few other things about the process and physical health, who provides the physical health care versus just the behavioral health care. So they're going to have that's going to be coming out probably in the next month or so. And I just wanted to give you a heads up that that's coming. There's going to be a lot of information that's being asked of you in that. That's to help with this Medicaid waiver reentry, the reentry waiver process. I'm going to put the website for MREACH in the chat. And then I've already added, it's not on the presentation right here, but I've added it to the other one. So we'll probably send out the presentation slides. So when that gets sent out, you'll be able to click on MREACH and it'll take you to this website, which will explain what's going on. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that there's kind of some data requests that are coming out. We're working with HCPF, we're working with these agencies and organizations. It's not necessarily coming directly from us, but we're trying to help with that. And the more complete that we can get that data, better it's going to be for them to be able to plan for this, which I think we all agree is going to be a substantial help to each facility, right? It's going to be a game changer, really. And so before we can really move forward, though, they need to collect this information from everyone. So just a quick heads up that that's coming. Also, a couple things that are going to be done by the end of the year. We'll have the new annual report that'll cover state fiscal year 25. That'll be coming out by December 31st. And then we also have a big website update for the JBBS website. We're going to kind of reorganize things, make it a little clearer, a little easier to navigate, that kind of thing, so that there won't be too many big changes. It's more just kind of moving things around to make it more logical and easier for you to use. So just be aware that that's coming. When it does, we'll let you know. Just like when the annual report's finished, we'll let you know that that is there. We'll share that with everyone so that you can use that for whatever you need to use it for. But I just want to give you a heads up that those things are coming. So real quick, let me look at Yvonne's question. Number of released only from the number of admitted clients in the current month. Yeah. So like if you're looking at, okay, how many, there were 5 people admitted and we released 3 of them this month, then the answer would be 3. I suppose, okay, so you admitted 6 in September, which brought the total number to 28. 12 were released, but only 1 of the 6 added in September was released. Yeah, actually, I want the total number released. Like if you have 28 and you said, okay, 12 were released, then that's the answer there is 12 because you've released 12 people, right? So you admitted 6. So again, there's going to be some variation, and Yvonne, you point out a really good example of how that's going to be. There's going to be a few months where sometimes the number released is going to be higher than the number admitted, but generally speaking, right, if you're admitting a good fair amount of people each month, the number released is not going to be much larger than the number admitted. Okay, so yeah, I do want total released, whether they were admitted 6 months ago or this month. How many people that were admitted to your JBBS program were released this month? That's what that's asking about. So I hope that clears that up for you, Yvonne. Let's go next slide for me, Becky. All right, so this is the gain completion rate across all facilities. So what this means is, does a person who's been added to Civicor and admitted to the JBBS program, do they have a corresponding gain assessment? On the left-hand side, you have Chaffee and Eagle that are both at 100%. On the right-hand side, you have Las Animas, Park, and Kit Carson that are very low, okay? So what that means is in Chaffee and Eagle County, 100% of people that were admitted to JBBS and Civicor have a matching gain assessment in the Chestnut system. So I don't know how to say this the right way, but I'm just going to put it out there very clearly. So there are only 2 counties that are technically in compliance with the contractual obligation, because the contractual obligation is that everybody who is admitted to JBBS gets a gain assessment. There are only 2 counties right now that are technically in compliance with the contract. Now, again, there's variation, things change. We're not going to use this as like, hey, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. But this chart should be like, most people are at 100% and where we have a few outliers. Right now, our completion percentage is at 70% across all facilities, which is, again, 30% lower than like the actual contractual obligation and about 20% lower than what we would like to see for we want to see a 90% rate would be really good. So if you're kind of if you're on the left-hand side, like Washington, Elbert, Conejos, Adams, Yuma, right, you're all doing pretty well. Right. On the right-hand side, your Moffats, La Platas, Crowley, Gilpin, Delta, Fremont, Summit, Teller, Weld, Otero, Prowers, Gunnison, Archuleta, Larimer, Pitkin, Garfield. There's some work that could be done in terms of making sure that when you admit somebody in Civicor and say this person has been formally admitted to JBBS, that they get a gain assessment within 14 days. Yeah, I'm just checking out some of this. Yes, what report can we pull in Civicor or Chestnut? So in Civicor, you can pull a report on everybody this month and see whether or not you are the one in Civicor. You're the one that tells Civicor whether you've given them a gain or not, right? So what I would do, I wouldn't check that box until you've finished it in Chestnut, right? I would say, okay, I've done it in Chestnut. Now I need to go over to Civicor. Now I check the box and say we did the gain. These 2 systems are not talking to each other outside of us pulling this data. We're working with a contractor to pull data from both those two sites. So there is no report that you can pull in Civicor that's going to tell you what you haven't done in Chestnut. This is really on, are you tracking what you're doing internally to make sure that once you record a gain assessment, you finish a gain assessment in Chestnut, that's lining up with somebody who's been admitted in Civicor. What you could do is you could look at your total numbers in Chestnut and say, okay, let me see all the names in the last month, and let me see all the names in Civicor in the last month, and make sure those match up and be a one-to-one. I should also mention this goes back to January, so this is 9.5 months worth of data. So it's a lot of information. And some of you may have changed your processes over the last 9 months to where things look a lot better now, right? This is just looking at from January 1st of 2025 through last week, basically. So if you have concerns about where you're at, like we had a meeting with the county just recently, and they were admitting people that they shouldn't have been admitting. And those people weren't getting a gain, which makes sense. They shouldn't get a gain, but they should not have been admitted to JBBS, right? So if you have questions about like, hey, what's going on? What might explain that? Like, I'm happy to jump on a meeting with you. We can kind of talk through that. But either way, right, we've got to get to a point where everybody who gets admitted through Civicor gets a gain assessment. Let's see. Is there a way to see which ones are not? As far as PT, I already talked about that. If we have clients who are admitted months prior to the gain process that don't have a gain, we don't go back and ask them to complete the gain. Yeah. If you had somebody who, and this would be, we instituted the gain in July of 2024, right? Does that sound like it was over a year ago, right? So if somebody was admitted before that and didn't have a gain, that'd be okay. But this is just looking at January forward, so it shouldn't be an issue here. Everybody who's admitted after January of 2025 should have a gain. So you're correct though. If somebody's been in there for a long time, then you don't need to do gain. If they come back, right, then you can do a gain, right? Or if they've been there a long time, you can do the gain every 90 days. So if you're only doing discharge planning, no. But in Civicor, you need to tell Civicor this is discharge planning services only. Because when you click that and you submit it, it's going to show them as referred but not admitted, right? And then they don't need a gain, because this is only looking at people who have been admitted. This isn't looking at referrals, just people who have been admitted. So if you're clicking discharge services only in Civicor, saving it, then they won't need a gain. They won't be on this list because this is only looking at admissions in Civicor. Does that make sense? All right, questions about that? All right, can I share my screen for just a second, Becky?
Let me make you a co-host, Alex. I think I have to.
I think I can.
You got it?
Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
And while Alex is working on that, I just want to ask Jackie. Jackie, does that make sense what Alex said? So the gain process has been in place for a long time. So if you are admitting, they need to have a gain. Obviously, if it's discharge planning only, like Alex said, flag it in Civicor, but they, per your contract, have to have a gain if they are admitted into the program. So did that make sense, Jackie?
Yeah, it does make sense.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
So Nancy asked, what happens if somebody's admitted but leaves before they get a gain? Well, then they weren't really admitted, were they? Right? I would go back and I would change that in Civicor to say released before services could be provided. There's that option in Civicor to say, hey, we were going to do something with this person, but then they were released before we could touch them. And so, I think the better way to think about this, honestly, is a gain is admission, right? Like, it's not just a choice, like, hey, we're going to admit this person. Like, when you complete a gain, that's when you can admit somebody, right? Like, if you think about it that way, I think it'll increase the numbers, right? Like, yes, technically in Civicor, you can admit somebody without having a gain. But if you're thinking about it as, I can only admit somebody when they get the gain, then that's going to help guarantee that everybody who's admitted in Civicor gets a gain assessment, right? And if not, if you can't give them a gain assessment, then they're not admitted. They're discharge services only, or they are ineligible, or they decline participation, or they were released before you could provide any services. So they fit into those 4 little boxes that we put at the top of the page on Civicor for the referral. That'll take care of anybody who didn't get a gain, They should fit into those 4 categories. If somebody's a MAC client and they're getting services, so they're put in Civicor, but not always a gain. So what I would do there, I would add a new client, and then I would track their services in the service tab and don't touch the referral tab for them, right? If they're only getting MAT services and you're not going to do anything else JBBS related with them, then they shouldn't even be referred to the JBBS program. You're just going to track them in Civicor with the services. And again, they're not going to show up here for services. This is only showing admissions. So I think that would be the way to go. Again, the primary purpose of Civicor is to track people who are admitted to the JBBS program. We are opening it up and allowing you to track services for people that are not admitted and do other things. But the referrals and admissions should only be people that are referred and or admitted to JBBS. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, cool. And I'm sure other things are going to come up. So, you know, just shoot me an email or we can set up a meeting, talk through it. I'm happy to kind of walk through this stuff. We're getting there. We're kind of tightening the screws. We're getting better and better. Now, let me show you why this is really cool and important for us. Yeah. Jackie, we might have to have a discussion about that and take a look at that. So let me show you why this is important for us. This is the JBBS website. I think I just put it, to put it in the chat. I'll put it in the chat again here. Okay. Here's the JBBS website. Go down to the bottom, scroll all the way down to the bottom, JBBS Civicor dashboard. It'll bring you, it usually brings you to the county map first right here. I've got it pulled up to JBBS client problem severity at admission. This information is pulled from the gains. So we've aggregated these gains together, and now we can see down at the bottom, you can see, so this is all the different categories that are on the gains. So there's crime, external mental health, internal mental health, physical health, risk behaviors, stress, substance abuse, history of traumatic brain injury, and homelessness. So now you can see in any given county, and this is across all counties right now, but you could see, you could select your county and say, what's going on with the people who are admitted to JBBS in our county? Some of the things that are really sticking out to me, homelessness. So what is it? 76% of all people admitted to JBBS in the last year or so have experienced homelessness within the previous year. 76% of people admitted to JBBS have experienced homelessness within the last year. That's huge. That's a massive number. Another one that's really big. So 77% of people have experienced significant or moderate levels of stress. Almost 80% reported some internal mental health problem, and about 67% have had substance abuse problem, right? So you've got, this gives you a really good idea. I'm going to reload this page just so I can show you more. So this gives you a really good idea. It's right up here at the top. So he starts on county map. If you click over to client problems at admission, this is this. And you can go down here to county. So if I want to know what's going on in Garfield, right, I can click all, unclick it, scroll down to Garfield, right, click this, and it'll show me, okay, this is what, and this is through June 30th. I can update it to, let's say, yesterday, right, or beginning of the week. Okay, and it'll show me, okay, this is what's going on. So this is what's going on in Garfield County. Another one that's really useful here, look at history of traumatic brain injury, right? So we've got 15%, this is just Garfield, but 15% have been diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury, and 57% have potentially had a traumatic brain injury. So altogether, you've got 70% of people in Garfield County are reporting that they either have had a traumatic brain injury or potentially have had a traumatic brain injury. So this is massive, and you can see it here, right? This holds across all of JBBS. 60% of clients admitted to JBBS report having either a confirmed TBI or potential TBI. So between kind of homelessness and TBI, I think that tells us a lot about the clients and kind of who's coming in. On the flip side, things like crime are really low. Things like external mental health are lower than we would expect. Risk behaviors are a little lower than we would expect. But things like internal mental health, substance abuse, stress, TBI, homelessness, those are all much higher than I think anybody, than I won't speak for anybody. I'll say for me, those are much higher than I expected them to be, right? So anyway, this is what we're doing with the gain assessment. And this will help you determine, okay, let's put more money, like let's spend more time and energy on TBI stuff. Let's look at doing something like what the HEART program is doing in Douglas County, because homelessness is such a big problem. You can start making decisions about where you should prioritize based on these gain responses, not just for one person, for the individual, for treatment, but across the whole population. Okay. So that's really, does anybody have any questions about this component of the dashboard? All right. I reorganized things on the dashboard. So county map, referrals and admits over time, 1-year return rate. This is what we were calling recidivism. And then client problems are your first 4. So these are the 4 kind of most important things. How many people are you referring, admitting? How many people are coming back to the program? And what are the big problems when people are entering the program and taking the gain assessment? Okay. That is all I have. I will turn it back to you, Becky.
Cool. Let me reshare here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I didn't move anything, so I didn't want to lose anything. All right. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate you. So we are almost done. I know this is a lot of talking. So I apologize that you have to hear from us all the time when you're always hearing from us on calls. So this has come up, and I don't need to read it because everybody on this call can read. This has come up because recently we've had a lot of folks reaching out to other folks at the BHA about jail-specific issues, which is fine if you're reaching out to folks. But like I mentioned earlier on the call, if there's a jail-related issue, even if it's not JBBS, Kelly and Becky, everybody's going to come to Kelly and Becky. I wanted to remind everybody that if there is any jail-related issue, including non-JBBS concerns that relate to behavioral health, that relate to competency, if you need a case staffed, if there's something funky going on with a client and you're just stuck with a particular client and you want resources or wondering about resources or want to staff a client or want to get information from somebody else at BHA, please, please, please reach out to Kelly and myself. If you have concerns, if you wish to discuss at a higher level, reach out to our supervisor, Danielle. We've had some folks reach out directly to our commissioner, directly to the governor. Ultimately, that's going to trickle down to us anyway, and we can save, I got to tell you, a lot of headache, a lot of headache for everybody if you reach out to us and then we elevate to the levels that we need to elevate to versus it kind of trickling down. Sometimes things get lost in translation too when the higher levels get involved really super fast and then it comes to us and we miss a lot of information and we miss some time where we could have staffed something or connected you with, I don't know, OCFMH or connected you with our art program folks or connected you with momentum in the BHA program. I mean, there are a lot of folks that we could just provide a quick connection or get on a call real fast, staff a client, do some things to kind of head off some discussion and get some discussion going faster versus if those kind of higher levels are addressed first. So Kelly, Danielle, I wanted you to kind of touch base on this as well, because I know there's some things that we discussed that I know I'm missing. So what would you like to add on this specific slide?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go first. Yeah, exactly. Just I echo what Becky shared, but more importantly, I mean, I don't mind getting called into urgent meetings of the, regarding our programs, but most of these situations aren't directly tied to JBBS, to be honest. But we definitely have the resources and the adaptability to be able to, appropriately refer to the right folks or really kind of determine where we should go with some of these issues. So we're working more, you all are boots on the ground and we're kind of that intermediary, but we certainly want to be available to you to be able to navigate some of these issues before they're elevated beyond our control. And oftentimes, to be honest, folks at a higher executive level don't really have the knowledge base of kind of what everyone is doing at this level and how complicated some of the the programs and processes that are around our programs, your programs. So we just want to make sure that if we can handle it first, and feel free to come to me directly if you feel like you're stepping on toes or I 100% back Becky, Kelly, and Alex on any of these. I trust them. I know that they have so many levels of experience, and they can definitely reach out to the right folks. But if you feel more comfortable coming directly to me, I'm happy to help you navigate. But yeah, I do think there are some issues that need to go directly to the top. And I recognize and acknowledge that, but I just want to make sure that you all know that we have a lot of great resources just at our level. And we're happy to help you. So if there's anything that we're not communicating with good clarity and being concise and direct enough, or maybe there's some reading through, between the lines happening, definitely call us out on that. We want to make sure that we are communicating as effectively as possible and allowing you to also respond and tell us what the issues are. So I hope that helps. I know on our team, we're looking at ways we can enhance communication beyond just email and maybe chats. Maybe in the future, we can have a separate portal or some type of a easy way to communicate issues as they arise. Maybe just like a Google form or just some type of, again, I don't want to create more systems and more processes that make it more complicated and burdensome for you all, but we're just trying to really think outside the box and make it easy for you to address issues when they arise. So any questions? And Kelly, feel free to chime in. Alex?
Thanks, Danielle. I wanted to add too, because I forgot to add this, and then because I need to stop talking and I'll let Kelly speak. Keep in mind too, Kelly and I are here for a reason, right? I'm not the budget person. I was not hired as the budget person or the invoice person. Those are roles that I have just taken on. Ultimately, like I've said, I'm a therapist. I have done therapy and case management at the jail level, community behavioral health level, DOC, all that good stuff. Kelly has worked in a jail for 20 years, 23. Kelly, I can never remember. How long?
20.
Thank you.
Felt like 80.
I always gift you 3 years if that helps. I always do. I don't know why, but I always do. So Kelly and I have done this work, and we definitely understand how difficult it is. Obviously, it's different now, and you've got a lot of pressure on you now than it was when we were doing it, and we definitely understand that. But navigating the system is what we are really good at. Connecting folks, getting folks treatment. We're really, really good at that stuff. And I got to tell you, that's the stuff ultimately that I love, making sure folks get the treatment that they need, making sure folks get the connections that they need. Please, please, please allow us to help you, even if it's non-JBBS. Got to tell you, the work that I did generally was not JBBS. And so can I help you with all of your JBBS needs? Absolutely. That's what I'm here for. Can we also help you with other needs and other connections? Absolutely. And now I will shut up, and Kelly, I'll let you add.
I don't really think there's anything else. I think we pretty much got it all.
Awesome. Cool. Any questions, any concerns, anything about that? Yeah, Alex.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, kind of as a fly on the wall in a lot of these conversations, sometimes when this happens, when somebody like goes over here or goes here instead of kind of talking to us first, it can oftentimes make the situation more difficult to deal with. Because then we get a bunch of people involved that, like Danielle said, they have no idea what JBBS does. They just heard a complaint from or an issue or something, and they're going to jump in without any prior knowledge of how things operate or what's going on. So sometimes it can make it more complicated and make it harder to find a solution than if we kind of go this route, which is like, hey, what can we do for you? Danielle, where do you think we should go next? Like that kind of consultation process can save a lot of time and energy. Based on what I've seen in these conversations. So
cool. Thanks, Alex. Any comments or anything on that? All righty. That's it. So thank you everybody for hearing us out. I know it's a lot. I know contract things are boring and invoices are boring. It's funny. I complain about invoices and budgeting a lot, but I actually